Talking about the heavy tea road.
Jesse in Chicago. All right, Flair. What's going on in your garden?
He probably doesn't realize what he just told her.
Yeah, probably not.
I have this is my first grow with a 600 HDS.
Yep.
Before that, I was just doing the old CSLs, like, jamming 20 of them in a closet and then anything else that'll brighten it up.
Wow, that sounds pretty
so now I
duff.
have a
All right, man. That's my style.
All right, at least he's getting his grow on. Come on, he's
Hell
in
yeah,
Chicago.
no, I'm not
He's
hating.
trying, bro.
Yeah, he's fucking trying, and he's got a girlfriend. That's more than Duff could say.
Yeah.
He married the first Pinocha he touched.
How'd you
That's
get that girlfriend? How much she cost?
Yeah. Did she see your garden and she was locked in, Jesse?
Did she see those compact fluorescents? Was like, oh my god,
I can tan in here in these cold 9-month winters.
is that a red bulb in there? Or is that a blue?
Okay,
So Jesse, how big of an area you got your 600
Yeah.
in?
The Scrog's 4x4. The room is 57 across by 80, so
you got some room to
and
move
it's 7
around.
feet 10 inches
A
high.
little bit of room. You can play handball in there.
No, he's only got about a foot going around it all the way around. He's got
handball.
8 inches on each side, right? 57. He's got less than 4.5 inches on each side, and maybe a 2 feet on either side of it. So that room is decently filled to work in the entire garden. But what's your question about it?
So right now I have a 4x4 Scrog that I'm doing.
Yep. Screen of
And
green.
I have a 10-gallon res that has 8 gallons in it usually all the time.
Okay.
I have 4 plants in it, and it's deep water culture bubble ponics.
Okay. So you have it's all in one reservoir, one system. It's like a Rubbermaid homemade do-it-yourself water culture system.
You got it.
Okay. Okay. What's your question
And
about?
So I'm scrogging, and they've been like 5 weeks now in veg still, and they fill about 75% of the tent. So they're like, well, not the tent, but the scrog, and there's like I only got like 3 blocks all the way around maybe that I need to fill up, and they're 3-inch squares.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking it's about time to flip, but so I started cutting off all the smaller foliage from the bottom
Right. Lollipopping
to
it.
not waste any energy and conserve it for the top.
Good.
And so I started doing that, and I wasn't sure how far to go up. And
To the
do I
tip.
continue doing that when I'm in bloom, or should I be kind of like just do a chunk of it while it's in veg right before I bloom it, and then I should like kind of hold off on trimming all the foliage from the bottom?
Well,
I'm not sure when
you should be pruning the entire time. Okay, when you first top, as it starts filling in, you want it to branch out. So you top the plants before it comes up through your trellis, your screen of green there. So it starts filling it up nice and evenly. If you only have that few of squares left, you need to flip it. The plant's going to continue to grow another 12 to 18, maybe even 24 inches after you flip it. So you got to be aware of that. It will also start sending different hormones to different parts of the plants. So the tops will start swelling and growing even more towards the light. They'll become more vigorous, more woody, and they'll be a lot harder to manipulate. But right now is the time to do it. So you flip it now, it will fill up. You're on point with that. Lollipopping and cleaning off the bottom schwagola, you should be doing that continuously. Wherever they're in a shadow, down below it, as long as you're not taking off the prime parts that are up into the screen, up into your trellis, you're fine. You even want to take off some of the wispy shit that after you top, you'll have little nodes that think they want to become branches and shoot up next to a nice stocky branch. Take that off too. Leave the spot for the stockier, heavier branch to grow bigger, higher quality, better fruit. Okay, just like you said, when you have competing branches, you have competing parts of the plant, and there's only a finite amount of energy in terms of wattage and in terms of nutrition. You will have that diverted, meaning that if you have a bunch of wispy branches coming up, you're going to have a bunch of wispy, smaller fruit. If you take some of those wispy branches away or all of them away, so the main stalks will bear bigger, larger quality fruit, more desirable fruit, especially if you're going to the farmer's market.
Yeah, when you're doing the scrog too, when you're about 2/3 of the way full on your scrog, that's the time to flip it back. You don't want it completely full because you're still going to veg for 7 to 14, maybe even longer depending on the strain. days afterwards, so you have to calculate in how much more time that's going to be. Any branches that are starting to really shoot through the screen and get higher than the rest of them, try to pull them down and retuck them all over and try to keep that thing as flat as you can so that as they come up, you don't get too many high spots. I mean, if you look at like a field full of corn, they want it all the same height. You know what I'm saying? So you don't, if you have branches in the middle that are too high right underneath the light, they're going to start getting burned and they're going to shadow the stuff out around the edges. So you really want to keep weaving that thing for the first week at least. But also,
that's the adjective weaving, Horty, is most people don't understand the idea of a screen of green. They just let their plants grow up through it to have a support system. You actually want to let it grow through, then push it down and weave it so it's locked into that system so it stays a nice hedge. So even parts of the plant that are taller, you weave it through and you manipulate, you train the plant to be all the same, like a nice little hedge.
And after about 7 to 14 days, depending on the strain, when you're weaving it, be careful because the stalks start to harden off. And they're not as flexible, and you'll be snapping branches.
Oh,
and
snap.
Snaps aren't good.
Man.
If you snap it off, you just put a little crutch on it and tape it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotta go to the.
Okay, but you're ready to
Measuring
flip
device.
now. And
you know, a thing you might want to try is you might want to try the 2 days straight of darkness when he first flips to try to give it that extra quick, hey, get into flower.
And if you're worried, if they do start to get a little high, you can add a chelated form of iron, and that will help naturally kind of be a growth stunter as far as height. If you don't want to use plant growth regulators or
when
like
you first decide to flip them into dark, to just make sure that you don't get too overgrown, you can go with 36 hours straight of darkness, and exactly after the 36 hours. Start your lights back up and do your 12-12 from there. There are specific things that are claimed by plant people that I'm not a plant person, but I do love plants. But there are specific things they claim can happen after 36 hours of uninterrupted darkness that initiate the flowering sequence quicker. So a lot of people that I know with strains that tend to stretch after you flip them, they'll put them into 36 hours of uninterrupted darkness for the very first night. Or the very first time that they turn the lights back to 12-12, and then they'll continue on a 12-12 to try to initiate bloom a little quicker.
Huh.
I don't do that.
I'm going to go that route for sure.
I would never do that.
But-
On the OGs, it really works.
Yeah, those original gangsters.
God, don't even talk about OG hoods. I was looking at them.
I wasn't talking about hoods, player.
No, they're legit too, Jesse, dude. But you're ready to flip, and your question about when to start lollipopping and pruning, it's immediately after you top the plant, which is pruning. You're consistently pruning, and then into bloom you are as well. You're gonna take little shrapnel snarf from the bottom, take that off to redirect the energy, and as bigger leaves become chlorotic and start yellowing and dying or covering prime flowering spots, you're going to remove them. It's a constant process. There's no time during gardening that you just sit back and be like, yes, reap the rewards of my 600 watts. Yes, excellent. It's what do we say? Green thumbs are a myth, but dirty hands are a reality because
That's right.
Gardening is work. If it was as easy as putting a seed in the ground and watching it grow, I mean, Dr. Duff would be successful.
I would.
Yes,
I try putting seeds all
Jesse,
the time.
I'm going to hook you up. Where do you shop?
That works.
Big Grow Hydro in Lake in the Hills, Illinois.
Big Grow. You're going to tell my screener where that's at. Okay, Lake in the Hills. That's one hell of a name.
Correct.
In the Hills.
Lake
Sounds
in
like
the
a
Hills.
horrible horror movie.
That's where Kanye's from.
Is it? I thought he was from the South Side. He went to school with Quincy.
Well, he ended up on the south side, but he came
beat
out
up
of
Moss.
the lake in the.
Quincy's boy Moss. Kanye beat him up.
No way.
Yeah, I can imagine.
No way.
This is the guy that came out here to California, got in a fight down in San Diego, and pooped his pants. That's a whole nother story. We got a lot of great stories coming
Yeah,
up.
he did.
At Big Grow, Lake in the Hills, we're going to send them a 600-watt real red high-pressure sodium bulb. The real red, you talked about the OG hood. It pairs great with that, but of course you want to be using a bulb that's geared towards horticulture.
Damn.
That's what Grow Light does for you. Check them out at growlite.com to learn more about all their great products. Also making your stuff AAA. Turpinator is going to be going in your garden. Great for DWC like you're running, soil, cocoa, whatever. Check it out at turpinator.com.
Turpin.
And then getting your CO2 levels up is a great way to get more carbon in the plant to speed up the photosynthesis so you get more cell division. Green Pads is an inexpensive, easy way to get that. So I'm going to send you some Green Pads originals. Check them out at greenpadsco2.com. Jesse, you just got hooked up? Talk to my screener.
I did.
Tell your lovely girl to send me that picture.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you, Horty Chris. I bought a can fan just because of you, how you always talk about can fans and you put your shroom, your dust shroom around, can fans. And, so I would can fan all the way. That was thank you, Horty Chris, for that.
You're welcome.
Man, thank you for being there for, just being
Duff.
Heavy T.
All right,
Heavy
Jess.
T, I absolutely appreciate you. And thank you very much for your show and doing everything you did and helping out people. I listen to you all the time.
Heavy T Road Dog.
You're listening to DFZRadio.com.